Alright, we're working on a 2016 Colorado today. I'm gonna change the torque converter and the flex plate. I've already gone ahead and I've drained this. I've drained this. I took off the drive shaft. It was 10mm bolts. I took off the exhaust. The exhaust is the first thing I took off. Depending on which model you have, it'll have different sized hardware, so you'll have to figure that out. And there is one plug for the downstream O2 sensor. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take off this bar. We're going to take off the transmission mount itself. That'll just get us ready to take the tranny out. We're going to take off this drive shaft, and then we'll support the transmission with an exhaust stand. And then I will take this transfer case off the car after unplugging all the accessories. Right, so that's the plan right now. Alright, I took off the transfer case. You can see there's a breather line there that I had to take off. Obviously the drive shaft had to come off. Now I've got looks like there's 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts. So that's it for that. So now that I've gotten that all off, I will support the transmission with a exhaust stand. Remove these 2 bolts, these 2 nuts, and these 2 bolts here. And then that'll remove those 2 parts out of my way. Alright, so I just popped off this. I took out the 2 bolts that are right here, set that down to the side. We have this hanging down. I took the 1 bolt out of here. That'll make it so I can pop this off after I get the cat up. Yeah, we got pretty much the whole harness is hanging here. We have 1 bolt to take out there to get rid of the fuel lines that are going over the tranny. I pulled this out right there. You can see me touching it, and then I'm going to rotate that upward. And there's our whole harness, right? Now I just have to do the starter, and I think we're just about ready to take it off. I'm going to go up and get this catalytic converter out of the way so I can get the 2 bolts that go in from the back side on this side. And I'll try to leave this until the very end, because it'll start leaking fluid pretty bad and make a mess and cover you. So try to leave that. You can take the bolt out, but just try to leave it in until the very end. After I take out the cats, I'm going to drop this pipe here and that'll let the transmission hang down. Then I can use a really long extension over to here and pick out the upper bolts. But yeah, so far so good. Alright, so here we are on top. We have 3 10mm bolts to take off of the heat shield here. There's 1 in each corner and then down there. Alright, so next we have 3 bolts on this flange and then 5 bolts here, 13s and 15s. Go ahead and bust those out. Alright, so up here, the last thing you're going to do is you're going to take out that 1 bolt there. It's going to leave you with this bracket here. You're going to unplug your O2 sensor right here, and then you can pull the cat out. Alright, so here next, you can see that there's a bolt here and a bolt down there. There's 2 bolts. One of them holds the bracket on and it goes into the transmission. The other one just goes into the transmission. I usually take them off from down there with a flexi wrench, a really long one. But if you want to do it up here, now's the time, because we're going to have to go back down. Alright, so now I'm winding this up, just taking a bit of weight off this bar here. Now I'll take off the bar, these 2 bolts, and these 2 bolts there. Alright, so now I've taken off that bar. It's hanging. I lowered the stand. I'm going to take that starter off and get the flex plate bolts out. I took out 1 bolt here, and then it looks like it's going to be a 13 there and then a 13 above, and then a 13 to disconnect the electrical, and then there's a clip here that you also got to disconnect. Don't forget to, you should have already disconnected the battery by this point, but if you didn't, you need to go do that, because you're going to push this on the motor mount, it's going to arc everywhere. Now, inside where you took the starter out, you might have to rotate it, but there's 3 bolts in here. I think they're all 3 15s. And you'll rotate the motor using this nut on the harmonic balancer here, or I mean bolt. And you need to take all 3 of those bolts out. Alright, so now we have these upper bolts here and here, and there's a 10 on that one. We're going to take off those, and then if you haven't taken off the 2 that are on the other side over there, you need to take those off. And there's another one right there on the bottom there, on the other side on the bottom. There's one right here holding that bracket on. And then don't forget to take off your fuel lines right here. Alright, so I took the tranny off. I replaced the seal by removing the C-ring on the other side of this. New torque converter on. Now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to replace the flex plate with all new hardware. And then I'm going to start putting it back together.